Wait. What the hell?
This lavender software basically says
Chat's here. Sound check. Good. Okay. Oh. I want a new tab. Holy crap. There you go, thank you. Sorry.
okay. Should be back up here on YouTube here in a second. I think we're still live on Rumble.
Okay, no, I didn't create any events. We're good. My bad. For favor. Let me just change some of that stuff. Huh? Enter video topic or paste video script. Oh, nice. No. Wait, what? Please set your user ID by clicking the extension icon. What the? Video must be unlisted or public without currently blah, 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 blah. Cool. Let's see what it does. Oh, that's an extension. But tags are stupid. Now we good. None. No. No. Cool. Public. Save. All right. Anybody here yet? Clear. Oh, what's up, Cam? You got banned from 2 SGW whores tonight. Lamau. They don't realize their content is trash and won't miss falling asleep to their streams. And I don't keep race traders as accompanying W ban. Bet. Hi, Michael. What's up? Yeah, I timed out the black supremacist. What's SJW? Sorry. I don't know. That one's fucked up again. I don't know why. I know you're doing the thing again. For crap's sake. Race trader. Hold on. Are you there again? You just yap a lot, you know? You don't donate a lot. Don't send a lot of super chats for somebody who lives rent-free in the chat. Oh, social justice warriors. Which stream was it? I'm gonna go crash it. What you doing back there? He's like under the pillow. Like, he's hiding there. Yeah. That's not my clothes, that's his stuff. So we're clear. I don't sleep there. That's the bed is just I mean that's his bed. Yeah. One sec. Crap. Pew. Note to self. Do this before. Boom. I can't find my headband. It's really annoying. Okay. Whatever. No, I'm not. Can you read? Can you read? Or is that like... I like friend... Speak English! Speak English! Listen. Don't you read what's pinned? I read the chat. Read chat. STREAMLABS.com, yeah. That means I don't read the chat unless you pay. That's the concept. Unless you're a cam, then I make an exception. You're not even a member. Cam, if he gets on your nerves, you know what. Even better reason for you to shut the fuck up. If you're broke, you're not even funny. Cam, do something. Because if I do, it's not gonna be nice. Alright, listen, I'm allergic to broke people. Respectfully. I'm allergic to spending my own money. I'm allergic to broke people. Yeah. Like, I just, ew. Wave. Okay, bye. Like, you just spam. Stop spamming. If you're broke, shut the fuck up. Just stop living rent-free in here. If you can't pay your rent, don't live here. We don't take it well. We're pretty mean about it. You're gonna tell me, well, that's why you got, like... Wait, what is that? Shit. Oh, fuck. My bad. I thought that shit was unlisted. That's my... I put... That's embarrassing. I put my voice sample. Public. I didn't mean to do that. That's from the AI I train. Okay. So here's the thing, like, I don't care about, like, getting... I'd rather have 3 viewers in the chat that just make me laugh and pay here and there than having low-quality viewers. If you don't believe me, go check out Grace Torp's live chat. I wouldn't trade 3 viewers for her viewers. Yeah, I'm good. Main reason I don't go on is because I don't want the roaches to come hunt me. It attracts roaches. It's like you try to get rid of roaches, but they just, they keep sticking around. No, I legitimately hate broke people. I'm not even sorry. I don't mean to hurt anybody's feelings. Like, I believe you can pull yourself up by the bootstrap and do great. But until that, go sit in the corner over there. Come back when you're doing good. We like what you are, not what you could become. We don't care. Women don't care. We like what is, not what could. Okay? Oh, she saw potential in me. Like, and if you fuck up, she gonna pack her shit. Okay? So I might marry my high school sweetheart. We build together. You can build together. Who gives a fuck? No, I'm not building with you while you're like smashing hookers. You can do that on your own. Like my man doesn't do all that crazy stuff because he's had enough. He's had enough kitty in his life. Like he's kind of been around the block, so now he's, you know, uninterested. It's great. Okay. He's like, it's not worth it. Yes. Grace YouTube is shit. I mean, she did build a decent community. Not the overall behavior of the community. I mean, decent size. Gotta give it to her. That, like, she gets viewership wherever. Like, when you're to a point that it's like people are loyal, more loyal to your community than they are to the platform that you're on. Like, brands have loyalty when they're more loyal to the content creator than the brand. That's usually how you win. Which she did build that, which is good. Like, her Discord has a lot of people too. So it's like she can switch to whatever platform that people are gonna switch with her, which is not easy to build. So I gotta give credit where credit is due. However, not sure the people that are in the chat watching this are the people sending money. I don't know who sends money. I spent like a month there making fun of people and then got banned on Discord for making death promises and offering cash prize for people to back their mouth up. Oh my god. And I missed that? When was it? Okay, only 27 people saw that. Good. You give away with me tonight. You give away with me tonight. Baby, I'll take you for a ride. Uh-oh. What's going on here? Bummer. Gonna trim it out. You fly with me tonight. You could fly with me tonight. Baby, let me take you for a ride. It's crazy, like you ride bikes, it fucks up your voice every time. Breaking up, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Okay, we're gonna...
Says, oh, we're going to put this guy either in the kill, not kill, or whatever. They have like a weird little thing that they use to analyze, or algorithm that use to analyze if they're going to kill people. They have something like a 15-to-1 ratio. So in other words, they're okay with killing 15 Palestinians for one.
Cam, did you say... Hold on. This is like money opportunity. I spent like a month... Okay, there's a lot of sexual offenders in our community. Seriously? Dude, FBI that shit. I dropped my number and name and a 2,500 offer to a tough guy that didn't take up the offer. I'll take up the offer. What was the offer? I haven't seen Sooner around in a few days, which is weird. Sooner history? Right? He's gonna pop in at some point. He might be streaming too. I think he's in Myron's community and his stream has been finishing late. So that might be why. Or he might just not be in the chat. You could fly away with me tonight. You could fly away with me tonight. Mm-mm-mm. I had a desire to play PlayStation, and then it went away. Video games kind of suck. Like, I'm sorry. Like, what do you get done? You don't get shit done. People are like, oh yeah, you should try, like, gaming. You'd have more views. Ah, see, he's there. Speaking of the devil. He's one of the regulars, too. Yeah, well, there you go. You found him. Oh! Yo, don't try to change the topic, Cam. You said like you made somebody an offer for 2,500 that they refused. I mean, let's talk business for a second. Was it to come like have a freaking bar fight with you? I mean, 2,500 bucks is 2,500 bucks. I wouldn't send nude for 2,500, but I would beat a bitch. Definitely. Fuck, I'd do it for 25 bucks. Or that offer was to teach a valuable lesson. Hey, I'll take on that offer. Teach me a lesson. I'm listening. You know where my Cash App is. You know. See? It's gonna look real smart. I don't want hair on my fucking face. Bummer. Oh well. Fuck you. And get some of y'all to talk a little bit. Cam, I'm waiting on you. You said, I mean, you put 2,500 bucks. I mean, you know. Oh, I need the cash register sound. That's what I don't have. I was wild in when I first got on YouTube. That was an act of violence I was wanting to act upon. I always have ball money on me. When I first got on the internet, I thought black people, yeah, now they, Stangy's here. Games on the, yeah, I know, it's crazy. You used to be able to buy a game, you know, you would buy the game, then you were just done. All right.
Terrorist. Okay, this is why
that's not the war ratio that's even.
That's 83% of the people that they've killed in Gaza are civilians. 83%. This comes from their own stuff. This comes from their own declassified military documents. They've been killing innocent people all day. We got 60,000, right? That we know have been killed. We don't. That doesn't count for
According
people.
To who? According to who?
That comes from the Hamas ministry, and Israel has actually accepted that number, right?
Yeah, because they're reasonable. They say, okay,
it's
we'll
way more than
number.
that. It's.
Hold on.
קיבלתי 100.
קיבלתי פיטר, את היכולות מתפתלים, אחד לוקח משפטי ואחד מכרם שלום.
ותראו אחריו גם ל-200 הנמל.
בסדר, לקרוץ את החמ"ל, אנחנו מבצעים ירי סלח באזור נוסף.
Where is it from? Video released by Israeli army shows helicopters firing indiscriminately on October 7th. That is the electronic intifada. The video was sourced from the Israeli publication Ynet. Okay. I'm gonna translate that in English for you guys. Hamas's deception of IDF helicopter and the targeting of pilots on WhatsApp. The first helicopters were launched from the north and arrived around Gaza about an hour after the fighting began. The terrorists were instructed not to run so that the Air Force would think they were Israelis. The pilots fired at those crossing the fence and also right inside the settlements. The pilots received information from the ground on mobile phones. In 4 hours, about 300 targets were attacked. Okay, and that's the... After the pilots realized it was extremely difficult to distinguish between a terrorist and a soldier or civilian within the occupied hotspots and settlements, a decision was made that the first mission of the attack helicopters and armed anti-aircraft gunners was to stop the flow of terrorists and the murderous crowd that was pouring into Israeli territory through the breaches in the fence. Throughout the day of fighting, 28 attack helicopters fired all the ammunition in their bellies in reloading rounds. Okay, this involves hundreds. Okay, blah blah blah. The air crew. It doesn't say much. Hold on. Who's this guy? Four Yemeni drones. Line 300 together. 17 investigator accuses heresy. Halevi after case is closed. Visit injured in Gaza by IDF grenade explosion. 2 of them in serious condition. Solomon closed. There's no evidence that he released classified documents before the campaign is not over. Goats on the map. The new green line and the dream of Ben Gvir. So what is he? Here, let me check.
קיבלתי 100.
קיבלתי פיטר, את היכולות המתפתלים, אחד לוקח משפטי.
Gonna watch that real quick.
קיבלתי קוצר אחד, לזיקים כאן דיווח בין 1 ל-1. עשרות אנשים שמנסים להיכנס מול נחלות.
אנחנו מנסים חזרה לרצועה על צול.
בסדר, חצו הרבה מזרחה, ביצעתי עליהם אליך. תקבל אותך. נצליח לקבל. אתה אוחז בהם?
I mean, do we know?
עולה יש עוד אופנה אחת שמעת אותך. קוצר, סיים גטל, לוקח לסרון, למוברה, דוד. עוד אחד. חוץ, רגע, תחת אותך. אני לך רוצה שהוא יעלה לחבור ל... יש פה אירועים הרבה מחבלים, יש לכמה אזור תביא אותו בסופה. על אנשים שרצים מערבה לכיוון עזה.
02 רשאי, כותב, קיבלתי, הוא מיד אליו.
תגידו סיימנו. יש פה הרבה.
How can you even tell?
90, 47, זה חוטף לנו.
עוד אחד, אנחנו קו 3, לא אכפת.
Okay. Oh. How do they even see? Oh, that's precision. Okay. What really happened on October 7th? They call us terrorists. Oh. No, that's... Is it?
Jenin, a Palestinian city in the northern west bank of occupied Palestine. It's home to 23,000 refugees, all living in the ghetto-like area of less than 1 square kilometre. In July this year, on news network about the role of the resistance.
Nah, that one's propaganda. There was like a great video, like Vice went to Gaza like years ago. And like they gave them a tour and everything. Like, yeah, like the Hamas guys, like they freaking gave them a tour of the tunnels like it was a freaking real estate agent. I don't know what happened to it. But yeah, that was one of the sources.
Are civilians. 83%. This comes from their own stuff. This comes from their own declassified military documents. They've been killing innocent people all day. We got 60,000, right, that we know have been killed. We don't. That doesn't count for
According
people.
to who? According to who?
That comes from the Hamas ministry, and Israel has actually accepted that number, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Release hostages. Times of Israel. Netanyahu preventing hostage deal. Charges ex-spokesman of Families Forum. Yeah, there's a lot of... Let's see, who the fuck is that guy? Nah. Does it count as private? So a reporter that isn't on X, that's just kind of weird. Anyways. No, there's just one thing that kind of infuriated me earlier. It says stealth as a space right now. Oh, Yom Kippur, probably not. Truth teller is what happened on 10-7. Oh yeah, I'm sure you're gonna be 100% transparent about that. Yeah, sure. Okay. More like light teller. Shit on a lot of stuff, but it's like what they said with Suleiman earlier. It's like if everybody who's like was like a 1/8 of like some form of Jew in them is gonna be considered a Jew, then yeah, like half of the fucking planet's gonna qualify for it. Like, what is that? Is a clinical psychologist providing psychotherapy since 1990 to adults, children, politicians, a lifeline in Gaza. Rubenstein, former spokesman for Israel's Hostages and Missing Families Forum, told the Times of Israel, okay. An Israeli couple holding an Israeli flag in Jerusalem walk in front of the graffiti color. Okay, blah, blah, blah. The main focus as a clinician has been providing treatment to children, teens, and their families. Also treat adults in general psychology. 3 initiatives led. Okay, so that one's a good one. Mush told me something that still echoes in my ears to this day. Rubenstein recalls. He told me, "We don't need anything. They'll be back within 2 days." I said I didn't believe that would be the case. Missing people. Put together a list of relatives. That's weird. Rubenstein resigned last month as the forum spokesman. This is the first time since that he's agreed to share his almost 6-month-long experience and to explain why he felt he had to leave the forum that he had co-founded. Oh yeah, because they wanted them to shut the fuck up. Hey boy. Not too good looking folk, huh? Alright.
They because they're reasonable, they say, okay,
It's
we'll
way more than
number.
that. It's like 300K easily.
How many people live in Gaza?
2 million, 2.3.
And you said 60,000 have been killed in a 2-year war.
And majority of them are innocent, and there's more than 60,000.
How many of them are combatants?
Not even 20K. Not even.
I don't know. Who's giving that number?
That's what Israel's giving. They're giving somewhere between 15 to 20K. They're claiming are Hamas combatants. So at minimum, off their own numbers, they've killed 40,000 innocent people. But we know it's way more because there's people under the rubble. There's people that are missing. There's people that got blown to smithereens that we don't even know where they are.
They could be combatants. And they very well could be combatants. How do you know if they're not combatants?
Brandon, 2.3 million people. Hamas' fighting force is not that big.
How do you know how big their force is?
Their fighting force is not that big.
They don't wear uniforms. They don't have military bases. How do you calculate how many people are Hamas? How many people are they recruiting?
They're surely getting bigger every day.
As they kill more
It's
people,
a war going on.
I get it. As they kill more people are probably joining Hamas because they're killing innocent people every day. But the point is
it's
this.
a war going on. It's a war going on, Myron. They're not just bombing buildings with people in it.
Okay.
Just for no reason.
So let me ask you this. Let's go to October 7th.
Yes, they
Let me
are.
use that same exact phrase that you did. It's a war. It's a war. It's a war, Brandon. They went in there. They kidnapped the 200 people. 1,200 people died. It's a war, bro. It's a war.
Yeah.
Would that be acceptable?
Look, this is what I say every time I go on campus. I say, I don't have a dog in the fight. When I say I don't have a dog in the fight, I'm not Israeli or I'm not Palestinian, and I'm not there. I'm an American. Now, if I look at it and people are saying that it's an apartheid state and they're committing genocide,
it is an apartheid.
then it's not an apartheid state. That's the most ridiculous thing you can say, Myron. That's the easiest point that I can disagree with you on very easily.
We'll do the genocide, then we can hit the apartheid after.
All right, we'll hit the apartheid state, and that's the craziest thing ever. But when you look at it, you say, okay, if they believe they're in an apartheid state, they believe that Israel's committed genocide, then hey, go and fight. They did, and if you accept that, then they're now losing. So now you have to accept that. If you go over to somebody's country and you start a war and you kill innocent people and you behead people and you take them hostage and they come back and whoop you, why are you complaining about it? You started a war, they finished the war.
No.
The end.
No. Well, here's the thing. This war's been going on since way before October 7th is what I'm trying to say. And the thing is that the Israelis would never accept if I said, oh yeah, bro, those 1,200 people that died on October 7th, that's just war, man. It's just war. It's like
it's a difference between making strategic strikes against a country that initiated a war and have your people still hostage. And they're firing rockets into Israel all the time.
Okay, well, if we're gonna go ahead and use the hostage thing, how many hostages does Israel have of Palestinians? They got like 11,000, and a lot of them were arrested without charge. They have no due process. They were just kidnapped because they're Palestinian. And
that's what you say. That's not the truth.
They have 11,000 prisoners right now in Israeli prisons.
That don't mean they're all hostages, brother. They arrested people for no reason.
A lot of them are there without charge. No charge, no court case, no nothing. They just picked them up and arrested them for no reason.
They just pick them for no reason. They just where they go.
That's that one, yeah.
There's a bunch of prisons all across the place.
Why is it not?
They're raping prisoners
50,000?
in there. They're doing all that.
Why is it not 50,000? Why is it 11,000?
11,000 is too much in itself. See, here's the thing. Let's just deal with the elephant in the room, Brandon. All right. The reality is this: Israelis don't value Palestinian life. That's what it is. They
That's
don't
not
care.
true.
They don't value Palestinian life whatsoever.
How is that true?
An Israeli life is worth far more than a Palestinian life. That's why they're kidnapping them. They're putting them in jails. They're raping them in the prisons. People are protesting, saying, "Oh yeah, we have the right to rape our adversaries in war." It doesn't matter. People were literally protesting, saying that we have the right to rape Palestinian males in prison. This is the kind of country that we're dealing with. Have you ever been
to Israel? Have you ever been to Israel, Myron?
No, I would never go. They'd kill me.
They'll kill you. See, Myron, you got to understand that you're saying something that's completely false and superfluous. What would they kill you for in Israel? I went to Israel. I was there for 2 weeks. Did you know that Gazans and Palestinians work in Israel?
Yes, I do.
Over 100,000 Gazans and Palestinians. Before October 7th, they worked in Israel. Did you know when you say this is an apartheid state, that's the most ridiculous claim ever, because Arabs have a right to serve in the Knesset. They serve in the government. They're in the Supreme Court. They fight in the military. How is it? No, but they do serve in the military. Yeah, they do have rights. After the war in 80 and 48, yeah, when the war ended up happening, 2 million Arabs decided that they wanted to be Israeli citizens. So Arabs have free reign. They can do whatever they want to do in Israel. That's not an apartheid state. An apartheid state is racial discrimination. That would mean that only Jews are allowed to be in Israel. Only Jews can serve in the Knesset. Only Jews can serve in the military. That's not true.
Okay, so here's why it's an apartheid state. It's a Jewish state, which means it must have a majority Jewish population.
It's no say that it's supposed to be a majority Jew. It just so happened to be a Jewish state. Therefore, it's a majority of Jews there.
No, they have to maintain this is a big reason why they will never do a one-state solution. This is one of the biggest reasons why they won't let these Palestinians just come in and be a part of Israel and end all this conflict, because they need to maintain a Jewish majority, because they claim to be a democracy, but the reality is they're occupying people illegally in the West Bank and in Gaza that have no rights.
They don't want to be a part of Jewish society. They don't want nothing to do with the Jews. They hate the Jews.
Well, they've stolen their land.
The Jews.
They've stolen their land.
They did what land?
They stole their land.
How did they steal their land?
They kicked them out in 1948.
They didn't kick them out. No, there was a war.
Yeah,
they had a two-state solution in 1947 that Israel agreed to, and the Arabs denied. And then they had a war against Israel, and they lost. Okay. And they were the ones that displaced millions of people. They sent them to the West Bank and sent them away from the mainland in Israel because they thought they were going to win. And then they lost. Okay. They displaced their own people.
Okay, let's go through this real quick. Number one, it is a genocide. Every scholar, it's irrefutable at this point.
It's a scholar. It's compared to what genocide? Well, let's compare it to what genocide is it compared to?
It doesn't have to. You don't have to compare it to other genocides to say, oh, well, not enough people died, so we're going to call it a genocide.
This is a war.
No, it's a genocide.
Did America commit a genocide in Japan?
Well, here's the thing. We weren't trying to kick them out of their land.
It's not their land, Myron.
Yeah,
Jews were there first.
Okay.
Is that not true? Hold on, let's go to history. Is that not true? Were Jews there first?
Here's the thing. The Jews have been there, but so have been the Canaanites and the Arabs have been there as well. But they're
so let's say they both have a joint. Just say they both have a joint access or joint claim to the land. It was not Palestinians' land. It's both their land.
See, here's the thing. Then we're going to get into the diaspora and then how Jews are, because the Jews that are there today are not the same Jews that you're thinking about that were there during biblical times.
But many of them were. Many of them were.
The majority of the Jews that are there now are Ashkenazi Jews, who are European Jews. Ashkenazi Jews are the majority in Israel. They're by far the majority.
That is not true.
Who are the European Jews.
That is not true that they don't have a DNA lineage to the land of Israel, and therefore their ancestors were there.
Ashkenazis know. But let me
it's a proven fact. There's peer-reviewed research that shows that Ashkenazi Jews have a bloodline directly to the bloodline of Abraham. I wrote an article about it.
Okay, so let's go to the we're talking about so you could say you don't think it's a genocide. Every scholar says it's a genocide. I think it's irrefutable. If you look at the definition, it's absolutely genocide because it's
they're not intentionally killing people and displacing people for no reason.
They're trying to do an ethnic cleansing right now. That's why they've destroyed Gaza and they're trying to get these guys out. Yes,
why are they not going to the West Bank then?
Well, here's the thing. They got the war that they needed on October 7th to go ahead and take over Gaza. They're absolutely going to try to displace those people.
Yeah, and they're
That's why they're destroying all the
idiots.
infrastructure so they can make it in and
Like, if they knew that, why did they do that?
habitable, so that they can say, hey, look, man, it sucks. You might as well go to one of your Arab countries on the side here. So that's
Did you not read the peace deal that Donald Trump and Netanyahu agreed to?
that peace deal. And then what did Netanyahu do the next day? He did another interview in Hebrew saying, oh yeah, this is just diplomacy, feigning diplomacy. He said in Hebrew.
But the agreement is agreement. I don't care what he say. They had an agreement on the book that he signed off of, other Arab nations signed off on, and that was the rebuilding. The commitment to rebuild Gaza. They will exit Gaza, and there was a commitment to many
They're not
countries,
going to exit Gaza. They're just going to move. They're going to move back a bit, but they're not going to exit Gaza. They're not going to.
No, they're going to. The agreement said they would completely exit Gaza.
They're not going to completely exit.
They have security control over Gaza, the land, but they're not going to be occupying in Gaza. There was an agreement that they made.
They're still going to be in Gaza. They said that they would pull back a little bit, but
no, they didn't.
All right,
they would completely withdraw from Gaza.
Okay.
Oh my God, he
sucks.
sucks.
Let's go to apartheid, and then we can go into this agreement.
Okay, apartheid.
The reason why,
we both know the definition of apartheid, correct?
Yes, and the reason why I said it's apartheid because Israel occupies the West Bank. They also occupy Gaza. These people have no rights. They have no representation. They can't vote. They can't do anything.
That's not true.
The people in Gaza can vote. The people in the West Bank can vote.
People in Gaza voted for Hamas. They can't vote in Israel, but they vote for what's in their own territory.
But they have no sovereignty.
They voted for Hamas.
They have no sovereignty at all. They don't control their airspace. They don't control their internet. They don't control their water. How do you think Israel's able to starve them right now? The fact that Israel's able to do this blockade and starve them proves that they have no sovereignty.
Myron, how are they getting water right now?
From Israel.
Hey, Tatum. Guess what? 50% of the population, they're children. They don't vote. They weren't there cheering on 9/11. They weren't even born. I know, those people, they don't vote. Oh, yeah, and you really think the elections are in America? Come on.
Okay, so they're not killing these people. They're giving them water, they're giving them medical supply, and they're giving them food.
No, the fuck they're not.
They're still dying of starvation.
How many of you have died from starvation?
Thousands.
No, give me
thousands. Thousands. We don't know because so many people have been dying. We got 60,000 right now, right? We got 60,000. When this war is done and the fog of war is gone and we're able to actually recount everything and go through the rubble and everything, it's going to be hundreds of thousands. It's going to be hundreds.
That's fine. If you say hundreds of thousands, okay, there's 2 million people that live there.
2, 3, yep.
And you say the starvation. They have given hundreds of thousands of tons of food over this 2-year war because there was
that doesn't mean that the food gets in.
No, yeah, because and according to the UN,
because they're not letting it in.
According to the UN, 96% of all the aid is getting looted, and this is the reason why Israel and it created a bottleneck because they did not want Hamas controlling the food, and the UN disagreed, and so they created another supply chain with the United States of America, and they created avenues in which they can get the food in an equitable way without it getting looted, and this is what they did. This is why they're still eating. You can go see pallets and pallets of food that is on the border that they hadn't been getting because of the UN.
Outside
because of the UN.
No, because Israel will not allow them to get in to bring in the food.
Myron,
you know how many aid workers?
Yeah, that's because they don't want Hamas to take it and resell it to the population, which they have been doing.
Have been killed by Israel. Israel's killed journalists. They've killed aid workers, to include American citizens.
They've
killed
evidence,
paramedics.
there's no legitimate evidence of them killing aid workers. However, there are evidence of them killing.
No, there is evidence actually. You want to know what the evidence is? That my friend got killed. Fuck you.
Journalists in strategic strikes, and some of these journalists were a part of.
Do you want a death certificate, motherfucking dumb cunt? Oh my god.
They killed paramedics. They killed 20. They killed 20.
Who were Jewish, by the way.
Paramedics and gave them a shallow grave, and then lied about it, saying that they didn't have their mercy lights on. The New York Times wrote a whole thing about this, showing that they did have their mercy lights on, and they
were Jews.
Clearly wearing markers. And then a couple of different countries sent in aid workers to bring in food from like United Kitchen, etc. And they bomb and kill them. Australians, Americans, Canadians, bomb and kill them.
They argued that there was a mistake, and they owned up to it. They said they did, and they said it was a mistake.
Oh, it's a mistake. Like
oh, I made a mistake. I'm doing nothing. Fuck you.
This is unacceptable.
Myron, if they want to kill hundreds of thousands of people, they can do it. They're clearly not doing that.
Yeah, because obviously.
Because they want to live there still.
If they want to starve them, they could starve them and cut off their water supply, and they'd be dead in the first, 8 months. Why are they not doing that, Myron? If they want to commit a genocide, and they're trying to kill out.
Because they don't want it to be too obvious.
Because you can't be as obvious about it. The goal is to make it so bad.
They're obvious according
to you.
The goal here is this. This is the goal. The goal is to make it so bad and uninhabitable that they have no choice but to leave the land so that Israel can go ahead and colonize that part as well. That's what the goal is.
Israel already has control militarily.
You said they didn't at the beginning. You're like contradicting yourself.
In Gaza, they already have.
Oh my god! Imagine being the guy who pays for this motherfucker to spread propaganda. I would want my money back so bad. Like, that's the best you could come up with? Like, I don't bring me enough money. I'm gonna give you like a few reasons that are better than that, okay?
I already have control of the airspace and the sea.
One of them being, did you know that Moroccan oil, the brand that makes the hair stuff that smells really good, ladies? Did you all know that it's Israeli? And that if you buy it, well, they're Zionists too. Half the female population's gonna be like a super diehard Zionist overnight. Oh.
Pull up the graves of Jews from Gaza.
Yep.
They forced Jews out. The idea of forced Jews out against their will to vacate Gaza.
That was a political play.
To the Palestinians.
That was a political play. They did that so that they can expand the West Bank.
They still force people out.
They did that so they can expand the West Bank. That's why they did that. They did that as a political, fake out so that they could continue to expand on the West Bank because that's where they actually want to focus on putting a lot of the illegal settlements, by the way, in West Bank are 100% illegal.
No, they're not 100% illegal.
Yeah,
that's not true.
The entire international community has condemned it and said it's illegal.
Look. Oh, you have it here too? Oh, nice. International Court of Justice summary of the advisory opinion of 19th July 2024. Incidental proceedings, provisional measures. The court rejects equatorial blah 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 blah. Legal consequences arising from the policies and practices of Israel in the occupied Palestinian territory, including East Jerusalem. The court gives its advisory opinion in response to the questions posed by the General Assembly. Summary. International Court of Justice. Legal consequences arising from the policies and practices of Israel in the occupied Palestinian territory, including East Jerusalem. The court first recall on that since 1967, including measures aimed at altering the demographic composition, character, and status of the Holy City of Jerusalem, from its adoption of related discriminatory legislation and measures. Jesus. Observe the key findings, and there's a... Bro, where is it? Internet. Okay, hold on. Reiterated. The court then turns the scope and meaning of the two questions posed by the General Assembly and recalls their formulation. The court notes that the questions define the material, territorial, and temporal scope. The court's entry with regard to the material scope A identifies 3 types of conduct, which question describes as policies and practices of Israel. First, the ongoing violation by Israel of the right of the Palestinian people to self-determination. Second, Israel's prolonged occupation, settlement, and annexation of the Palestinian territory occupied since 1967, including measures aimed at altering the demographic composition, character, and status of the Holy City of Jerusalem. Third, Israel's adoption of related discriminatory legislation and measures. In this regard, the court limits itself to observing a future common to all of them, namely that the terms of question A assume that these policies and practices are contrary to international law. Okay. Sorry, that one's a little late. The court considers that in its request, the General Assembly has not sought from the court a detailed factual determination of Israel's policies and practices. Therefore, in order to give an advisory opinion in this case, it is not necessary for the court to make findings of fact with regard to specific incidents allegedly in violation of international law. The court need only establish the main features of Israel policies and practices, and on that basis assess the conformity of these policies and practices with international law. Applicable law. Okay, we don't need to. If you guys want to read it, you know what? I'm going to put it in the chat. Which is not open in front of me. Oops. They should just keep Palestinians out to Egypt and call it a day. Yeah, but then their whole smuggling operation would go down the drain. They have like a whole economy on smuggling people, in case you didn't know. Okay. So, yeah. Indeed. I'm just tired of... Yeah, there's a lot that people don't know about what's going on in those countries.
I have a inkling that you may not understand what the West Bank actually looks like.
No, I know what it looks like. It's disconjointed, right, land,
right,
that isn't contiguous for the Palestinians, and they did that on purpose, by the way, with all of their different partition plans that they've had. And
That's not true. It's up for debate.
There's roads there that Palestinians can't even use, and they've strategically cut the West Bank up in a way where it makes it extremely...
Like, I will let it, like... Bruh. Okay. Where is my channel? What?
beat the family curse of hair loss. Through Hims, you can break the cycle and get the thicker, fuller hair of your dreams.
Imagine
Genetics
if like they
started it,
would have
but
just
our range of
like
personalized
super
treatments
chatted
can
me
help you get
instead
ahead of it.
of sending money there. If you want to send money to Jizz, just send me money for fuck's sake. There you go. Here, I'm gonna put all the sources in the description. How about that?
Be difficult for Palestinians to have any type of ability to do trade, to have any type of sovereignty, etc. They did this on purpose, so that it's.
Well,
go ahead.
I disagree with you, but if they did it on purpose, then so what?
The settlements are illegal.
No, it's not illegal.
Yes, they are, because when they had the Oslo Accords, when they've had these different agreements, the agreement was, hey, look, we're going to go ahead and work on the Oslo Accords. Was supposed to be a framework for a two-state solution, right? And that was contingent upon them coming and revisiting and having something, making agreements to create some type of two-state solution. During this time, they aggressively went ahead and killed building in the West Bank because the Israelis practice something called facts on the ground. And what that basically means is, we're going to go ahead and have this, loose framework that we're going to operate under, but we'll come back and revisit it in a year, in 2 years. And what they do is they aggressively bulldoze houses, build settlements, make it bigger, so that when they do come back to the negotiating table, they're like, oh yeah, by the way, we've kind of expanded a bit, the facts on the ground are a bit different. You're going to get this amount of land now. And the thing is that no one can challenge them because they got the U.S. backing them. They have a superior military. They have airspace. They have control of everything. So no one can really hold them to anything because they can do what they want because they have American backing.
Well, let's put it in perspective. They're not occupying the West Bank territory that the Palestinians are in. They're occupying territory that's not
because they stole it from the
Palestinians
originally.
There's no stolen from anybody. Why are you saying they stole something from you people?
Bro,
they didn't steal. You don't have when the British can mandate that Jewish people come back to the land. When the British can mandate it, that means that the Palestinians didn't own the land to start with because there was the British mandate. The Jews came back. The Jews came back. If you look at historical documentation, the Jews came back and they purchased land legally. They purchased land from the Arabs. They purchased land from the Palestinians legally. And then the Palestinians didn't want them there.
Sure, let's talk about that.
Hold on, we'll get to that. But let's compare. It's the same comparison. Why don't people think the same thing about America and the Native Americans? People can argue that it was their land, but at some point, when you fight a battle and you lose, you're subject to the conquest of the country that won,
sure,
or whatever leadership they won. Well, we did it to the natives, and the Israelis have done it to the Palestinians.
Here's the difference.
What do they owe them?
Native Americans get their own land. They get a nice little stipend check. They're American citizens. They have full rights. They can do whatever they want in America. Yes, it is terrible what Americans did to them and colonized them, but they at least have citizenship. It's not apartheid. They have the ability to do whatever they want, and they get a nice little check just for being Native American. That's why a lot of them are alcoholics. That's all the conversation. But let's go ahead and talk about, because we were talking about the war, right? In 1948 before that.
Wait a minute, Myron.
Because you said that they bought the land, right?
Yeah, let's not jump there because Israel gives a lot of benefits to Palestinians as well. They work and they're able to do commerce in Israel.
A minority.
It's not a minority. It's 2 million. Thousands of them.
It's 2 million, and the majority of Israelis are Jews. That's why it's called the Jewish state. But then you have millions in the West Bank and in Gaza that have no rights.
And they have no rights to Israel. They have rights in their own.
But they're being occupied by Israel.
Land. They're not being occupied.
The entire international community, Brandon, everyone knows that Israel's occupying Gaza. They're occupying Gaza and they're occupying the West Bank. This is irrefutable.
How you occupy a place that you won in a battle? They had multiple wars that they won. How are you going to say after Israel wins a war that they're not entitled to everything else everybody else get when they win a war?
Well, they win the wars. We can talk. You know what Yom Kippur was like yesterday? The Yom Kippur War back in the 1970s. They only won that one because they flexed nuclear weapons that they stole from us.
Did they win or did they not win?
We had to do a huge airlift to save them. They were going to lose.
When we win a war and we begin to take over the land, there's nobody that argue that somehow the land don't belong to us and we are wrong for doing whatever we do with the land that we occupy now that we won a war. If Palestinians would have won the war and they occupied the land against Jews, nobody would be crying about it. You fought a war, they lost the war. Israel can do whatever they want to do with the land. They could push these people out of the land if they wanted to, but they're generous and reasonable enough to give them many of the holy sites that they got in Judea and Samaria. They have a portion of the old city of Jerusalem, and they have their own government system that they voted for and elected, who have robbed them blind, and then they elected Hamas in Gaza. I'm glad that Israel is not stupid enough to allow these people to completely run the sea and airspace and everything, because Israel would not exist if Hamas could run and have access to airstrikes. Israel wouldn't exist. They shot 4,000 missiles into Israel after October the 7th, and the only reason that they didn't kill everybody because they got the Iron Dome.
And how many missiles does Israel? How many bombs does Israel drop on Gaza in the past year?
Well,
thousands.
As many as they need to.
So see how when it's Israel doing the attacking, oh yeah, they're doing what they got to do, etc. But then if I say, well, yeah, they're going to retaliate. Oh well, no, they're terrorists. Like
no. First of all, you got to look at the charter of Hamas. They're a terrorist group. They're designated by a terrorist group in the United States. Who designated them as a terrorist group? We designate them as a terrorist group.
Yeah, but you know who did that?
Well, maybe when they cut people's heads off, it may be an indication that they're a terrorist group.
Okay, Israel was created through terrorism. The IDF used to be the Irgun, Haganah, and Stern Gang. Those are terrorist organizations. The thing is this: the person that designated Hamas and Hezbollah as terrorist organizations was a Jew named.
Do you think Hamas is a terrorist organization or not?
Here's the thing: we're going to go off the definition of terrorism, right? We're going to go off.
Come on.
No, sure. We can have this discussion. The definition of terrorism is committing acts of violence in furtherance of political agenda. Correct?
Yeah.
Would that be fair to say that's how the FBI defines it? Cool.
Yeah.
If we're going to call Hamas a terrorist organization, so is the IDF. That's my position.
How is the IDF a terrorist organization when they're literally a defense force for a democracy defending their people? They're not going out and actively committing terror against people to push a political agenda.
Yeah,
no,
they literally are. They literally are.
Show me a video. Give me an example.
The state of Israel was created through terrorism. Before the IDF was a thing, because they rebranded, there used to be the Irgun, Haganah, and Stern Gang. These three organizations were paramilitary Zionist groups that were terrorist organizations that killed British people. They killed Palestinians. This is why the Palestinians didn't want to agree to the partition plan that you're talking about in 1947. Because that peace deal that you're talking about, we could go through it. Because you said that the Jews bought the land. That's a lie. Back in 1947,
no. I said the Jewish people. No.
They stole it.
I'm not talking about the state of Israel. The state of Israel, the mandate from the British mandate allowed them to own and occupy certain areas. But what I'm saying is that when they got there, they didn't force Arab people out. They bought land legally. That's how they began to expand.
Sure.
They began to get money and commerce and all of that stuff.
You know how much land they owned? The land they owned at that point? 6.6%. That's how much they owned in 1947. That's how much land they actually owned. So of course, the Palestinians are going to be like, okay, at that time, the Zionists were about 30% of the population, maybe less than that. They owned only 6% of the land. They wanted 56% of the land when they had that 47 partition plan. Of course, the Palestinians are going to agree to that. And then on top of that, they wanted all the fertile land that had the best soil with the best waterways, etc. So the Palestinians were like, fuck no, we're not going to go ahead and let you guys have 56% of the land, even though you guys are 30% of the population. You guys only own 6%. So no one would agree to that.
No, all fertile land is not true. Not all fertile land is not true.
The majority of fertile land was in the 56%. Was in the 56%.
They purchased and negotiated swampland that the Arabs never want anything to do with. And when you go to Israel today, you can see the land that they purchased and they beautified.
It was only 6%. It was only 6%.
That's fine. So they disagreed.
But they wanted 56% of the land. They only owned 6 legally, and they wanted 56%.
The first partition was going to give the Arabs and Palestinians 75% of the land, and Jews would only have 60% of the land. 40%. No, 75%, 16%. They disagree with that. 1947 was going to be the land partition that you're talking about. They disagree with that. Then they went to war with it.
You're talking about the Peel Commission. Okay, let's talk about the Peel Commission. 1937. Ben Gurion is the one that was the architect of that one. Ben Gurion admitted when he was going through and doing the whole Peel Commission, because yes, you're right, the Israelis were going to take roughly 20% of the land. That was a lie. The only reason he agreed to do the Peel Commission was so that Israel and the colonies can have some type of international credibility with trying to make peace. And then in 1947, they went ahead and they asked for 56% of the land. So you can see here that they're slowly encroaching and asking for more land, despite the fact that they don't own the land and they're only a minority. And how do I know this?
They don't. Neither one of them owned the land.
Ben Gurion.
Neither one owned the land.
Ben Gurion admitted to his son in his memoirs, October 5th, 1937. He admitted this. We are only doing this. We're feigning diplomacy, something like Netanyahu's doing now. We're feigning diplomacy. We are going to take all this land for us. So the goal was never to live peacefully next to the Arabs. It was always to take all the land. And this is the first prime minister of Israel.
You can say that, but the goal, first of all, they don't own the land.
He wrote it himself.
The Palestinians didn't own the land either. Well, you act like they own the land and they had a Palestinian state.
They were there. They're just people.
Jews were there, but there were Jews there simultaneously with Palestinians the entire time that Israel has been a thing, period.
Okay.
Way back from Jesus' day. So the Jews never ceased to exist in Israel. They just became a minority and then now they're the majority again. But they never ceased to exist. You can't say that the Palestinians somehow owned the land or had rights to the land. There would be no British mandate if that was the case. And then also, how did they get exclusivity? They didn't have a government system. There's no state called Palestine. So you have a group of people that come in under a British mandate. These people had their part. These people had their part to negotiate a peace deal and fairness. They had the partition. The Jews and the Israelis, or whatever you call them, they wouldn't be Israelis at that point. They agreed. The Arabs denied it. Okay, 1947.
Which deal are you talking about? Which deal are you talking about? They denied. Which
1947. One? We'll go with that one.
Okay, they denied it for good reason. I explained it.
You say that's good reason. I don't think it's good reason. That's subjective.
Okay, Brandon. If somebody came into your house and broke in, right, and then told you, right, they broke in your house and
they didn't break in. What do you mean? Nobody broke in anywhere.
Again, I'm just using the analogy here. If someone came in your house,
what's the difference between breaking in my house?
Okay, they take 50%. They say, yo, we're going to be hanging out here now. They take 56% of your house. Would you agree to that?
Well, look, let me say this. Okay, Myron, let's say I didn't own a house, and let's say I was leasing a house.
Okay, it's still your property.
Let's say not even leasing. I had a floating lease or something. No real documentation of.
Let's say you're renting it. That's fine. But someone comes in and tries to tell you, oh, you know what?
No, they don't come in. The homeowner tells me that okay, we're gonna split this house up. You're not even occupying majority of this side of the house. We're gonna give it to somebody else. You stay over here. They stay over here. Let's have an agreement. I don't own the house.
Here's the thing.
So why am I going to act like
there was never any peaceful agreement because the Israelis were the Zionists, the colonists were using violence the entire time. They were using terrorism.
They were using violence the entire time.
Okay, so the British
mandate was not violent.
They were killing the Brits too. The Zionists were the King bombing of the King David Hotel. They bombed it. They killed like 100 people. You're talking about one isolated incident, but you're not talking about any of the Arab incidents where they were killing Jews and they were doing all these. I forget the name of the battles. They would come and kill Jews. But they were killing them. They came into here's the thing. The Palestinians were there first, right? They were there. And then,
no, what do you mean?
The Balfour Declaration.
Myron, you gotta clear it up. You said they were there first. What does that mean?
Okay.
Jews were there as well as the Palestinians.
Okay. The Jews that you're talking about, Mizrahi Jews, aka Arab Jews, that are actually from that region, they were not the same Jews that we're talking about that occupy and run Israel now, which are Ashkenazi Jews from Ukraine, Russia, Poland. Netanyahu's Polish. Okay. Golda Meir were Ukrainian. Menachem Begin, Ukrainian. These people don't have ties to the land like that.
They do have ties to the land.
No, they don't. If you look at there's a reason why DNA tests are heavily regulated in Israel. Okay. These people don't have ties to that land. The Jews that you're thinking about, the biblical Jews, are not the same Jews of today. Okay. That is a Hezbollah lie that they use to try to tie themselves to the land and say, oh no, look, we're all Jews. We all have Jewish blood, etc. But there's different types of Jews. There's so many different types.
That's not true. There's different type of Jews, but the Ashkenazi Jews and the Jews that were there have different percentages of blood connection to the seed of Abraham, but they're all Jews. Just because they were, I say, forced out of the region at some point and they end up race mixing and coming back to the land don't mean they have no lineage to the land. That's not true.
Here's the thing. Architecture, DNA, etc. The Palestinians are the indigenous people to that region.
No, but the Jews that were there are indigenous too. The Jews that were there alongside the Palestinians this entire time.
Yes, some of them Mizrahi Jews, the Arab Jews that are from the Levant. Yes, but the Jews that we're talking about today, the modern Jews, the white-looking guys, these Ashkenazis, they're not from that region.
They have a bloodline lineage from the region. Just because they were born in Poland and other places doesn't mean that they don't have connection to the bloodline in the region.
And here's the other thing too. You want to know? This is going to debunk your entire argument. The guy the father of Zionism, Theodor Herzl. Did you know that he wanted to go to Argentina first? The only reason he picked Israel, which by the way, this guy is secular. He was an atheist, just like Ben Gurion. I find it interesting that atheists say that God promised them that land, but they don't believe in God. It's another Hezbollah lie. Theodor Herzl, he originally wanted to go to Argentina, but then he only said, you know what, let's go to Palestine because it's going to be easier to sell for a Zionist project. That's a dirty secret that they don't want to tell you.
But you say that. But it's funny that you say that because you can peddle that on one side. You can say that's a legitimate argument, but it's also biblical that the people of Israel will be brought back to the land of Israel. It's biblical. It's also a biblical prophetic reality, and Zionists believe in that biblical reality, and that was a driving force behind the support from America and American Jews.
And that is exactly why I'm telling you it's all a bunch of BS, because the founder of Zionism and the first prime minister, Ben Gurion, were both atheists. Theodor Herzl.
Just because you atheist don't mean you don't acknowledge. Just because you atheist don't mean you acknowledge the reality and the historicity of it. They don't have to believe in God to understand the validity of what people are trying to convince them to do or trying to partner with them to do.
Okay.
You don't have to believe in God to understand what the Bible says.
Do you not find it crazy that the guy who said, we're going to go to, first he said, we're going to go to Argentina. Then he said, you know what? Nah, for me to sell this Zionist project, it's going to be better if I say we're going to go to Palestine because we have biblical ties to it. And it's going to be an easier sell, and we'll be able to get more people to come and join us over here. You don't think that that's problematic and that defeats the whole purpose of being biblical or doing it for religion purposes?
If you say that everything the secular atheist is doing is acting in poor faith, then maybe you have a point. But I don't know that man. I don't know his motives. I don't know exactly what his motives or what he was thinking about when he did it. But there is
he wants to colonize the land is what he wants to do.
There's reasonableness to believing that what are we going to do with all these Jewish people? Here's
I went 1 hour without donuts.
Land of origin. And that's what they did. And they went in waves. They didn't just all come back a million people at one time. They came back 15,000, 30,000, 60,000. And what was happening was, as they began to come back to the land, they began to buy up land. They only owned
6%. They stole the land. They were killing Palestinians and pushing them out of their villages.
There is no war that you could point to that's historically documented that they stole large swaths of land due to war. These people did not have a military set up initially.
They did, but when they first came. Yes, you had the Irgun.
They did not have a military set up.
Yes, they had paramilitary Zionist organizations called the Irgun, Haganah, Stern gangs. These gangs terrorized and killed Palestinians, pushed them out of their villages, and this is how they were able to take over. And this is how the Nakba was created. Yes,
Myron, these were battles. These weren't wars. These weren't large swaths of Arabs being taken over. These were small battles of small territory. When you talk about these wars that you're mentioning, these wasn't large swaths of displacement of Arab people. That's not true. This happened over
750,000 people didn't just leave, didn't just get kicked out of their homes?
No, it did not happen that way. In the war in 1948, there was a displacement of the Arabs to their own people because they went to war and they told their people to vacate the area. And that after they won, they would bring them all back to occupy everywhere the Jews occupied. What happened was they lost. So they couldn't bring the people back like they had promised. This is all historical documentation. And when they lost, the Jewish people kept the land and then they began to set up boundaries. If they had remained in the land, unlike what their leaders had told them to do, displacing 700,000 people, then we wouldn't have this problem in the first place. They displaced their own people. This wasn't something that was done by the Israelis or the Jewish people.
So they didn't just the Deir Yassin massacre didn't happen. All these murders of Palestinians.
How many people died in that massacre? How many people died in that massacre?
A lot. Somewhere between.
No, it wasn't a lot. If you look at the history of the massacres that have happened on both sides, you can look it up. You can do it live. The massacres that have happened on both sides, majority of them were Arab-led massacres against Jews. Now there were, I think, on record, maybe 1 or 2 massacres that occurred from the Jewish against the Palestinians.
It's so ignorant.
The death toll maximum, I think, in any one of those, about 2,000 people.
Well, either way,
57
like he's so dumb. He's literally so fucking dumb. Like, is he dumb? Because I mean, you could have like a useful idiot. Like he is the definition of a useful idiot. He knows his talking points, and he's just like, just goes back in circles and contradicts himself.
These were small incursions at times over a large period of time, mostly initiated by Arabs. So this is not some large 700,000 displacement wars that were going on. That didn't happen.
Okay, again.
Anybody wanna really bring up whose fault it is? Let's not talk about Winston Churchill for a second.
If you got a colonial project coming in, taking your land, kicking you out of your villages, taking your resources, literally having labor unions, not allowing you to sell your fruit, not allowing you to sell your goods, right? And they're taking up the land as they do this. Of course, there's going to be violence. Of course,
I don't disagree with
that. And they came in and then obviously these partition plans with the Appeal Commission, they didn't negotiate in good faith. Then you go to the 47 partition plan. They wanted 56% of the land despite being less than 1/3 of the population, wanting all the good fertile land. They never negotiate in good faith. So of course the Palestinians are going to go ahead and reject the peace plans. And here's the thing, right? I know what you're saying. Hey, might is right. Fine, let's go ahead and go with might is right. Here's the problem. Israel's never, ever going to get peace until they give the Palestinians a state. The Arab world is not going to recognize them. We're going to always have problems there. Now, here's my biggest issue with all of this.
They don't want a state.
I don't want to support Israel and give them money so they can do a genocide in our name, because my biggest problem is that we give these dickheads the money and the influence and the power for them to do this stuff.
They're not committing genocide, Myron.
They are doing
They
genocide.
don't want peace.
That's
Can
irrefutable.
you admit that the Palestinians don't want peace with Jews? You just no. Let me finish. You just articulated.
I would argue
you just articulated a very good reason why Palestinians never want peace with Jews. You're saying that they stole their land from the very beginning.
Yep.
All these massacres happened and they killed them. Why then are you saying a two-state solution will be somewhat of an objective for Palestinian people when you explain an entire history of what you call an apartheid state, a genocide?
It is.
And then you claim that they want a two-state solution. Why would they want a two-state solution if what you're saying previously is true? They never want a two-state solution. They don't want to identify or accept a
They don't want a
Jewish
two-state
state.
solution?
They don't want to. Palestinians don't want a two-state solution.
So here's the thing.
Every two-state solution proposed was agreed to, or the Israelis agreed to them. Every one
That's
of them.
not true. Well, let's go through it. Okay, so let's go through it. The Oslo Accords. The Oslo Accords was the actual only deal that was probably going to have a framework to actually create a two-state solution. So Yasser Arafat actually conceded, and he conceded a couple of things that were huge that other Palestinians and other Arab nations didn't even want to do. He recognized Israel's right to exist. He denounced violence, and he said that they deserve to live in peace and security. That was a big step. And all he got in exchange was the Palestinian Authority being recognized by the Israeli government. That was supposed to be the framework for them to go ahead and create a two-state solution in the future. Guess what happened? Yitzhak Rabin gets assassinated like a couple of months later, a year later, by a far-right Likud party member. And who takes power? Benjamin Netanyahu. Once Benjamin Netanyahu takes power, he's been caught on video saying, oh yeah, I sabotaged all the Oslo Accords. They're never going to have a two-state solution.
Where's that video at?
He's in the West Bank, right?
No, show me the video and I believe you, bro.
Okay, let me get the link right now.
I've never seen that video. Today, just the other day, he in good faith, he agreed to a peace agreement. We have five two-state solutions.
And then the next day, he did a broadcast in Hebrew saying like, hey, I'm just
Yeah, right.
diplomacy.
If you can say whatever you want, but the agreement is the agreement that he signed off on, and other Arab nations.
When is the last time that Israel actually did not violate a ceasefire of some kind? Never.
Signed off on the same agreement. So he can say whatever he wants. He signed the agreement. Well, here's the thing. The agreement also doesn't have anything really in stone. It just says, oh yeah, we're going to work towards Palestinians' right of self-determination. We're going to work towards it. The Israelis always use this language.
Myron, it said specifically, if they give up their arms, they have asylum. They're allowing, which is I think is insane. They're allowing Hamas soldiers to have asylum in Gaza. If they give up their arms, they give back the hostages, and then they agreed that IDF would withdraw. And they have a phase-by-phase withdrawal that they agreed to. Okay. And they said that they would give back 1,000 prisoners or something to Gaza. They would hand them over. It's all a part of the agreement. We signed off on it. Israel signed off on it. Other Arab nations signed off on it as an agreement that we would all come together and help rebuild Gaza, which I don't want to do, which I think that Israel would want to do. But that was a part of the agreement that Netanyahu signed off on. There was 5 two-state solutions that were proposed. Subjectively, you could say it never was in the proper favor, but show me a proposal that they were willing to accept ever. So you don't want to, because here's the thing. What Hamas wants is a permanent withdrawal of the IDF, right, to leave and end the ceasefire and end the ceasefire permanently, like have a permanent ceasefire. The Israelis don't be in control. That's fine. They don't give a shit about being in control. They do give. They don't. They don't. We will never surrender. No, they say Hamas is a part of the fabric of society. In Gaza. They said they'll never surrender, as in like they're not going to stop fighting for sovereignty. But what they're saying, but Hamas is a part of society. I watched the interview. He literally said we would step down as the leadership. We're fine with that. He did. No. Are you saying that he didn't say that Hamas is a part of the fabric of society in Gaza? He's talking about Palestinians and the Palestinian culture. But what he means by that is yes, we will step down politically, right? But they want a permanent ceasefire. Right, and then a withdrawal of the IDF, but the Israelis don't want to do that. They want to continue to occupy Gaza. No, they're not pulling out. They're not actually withdrawing. Pause. They're just pulling back the troops, but they're not actually leaving the Gaza Strip. They're staying there, still occupied. And then here's the thing too. The Israelis can't be trusted. Dude, the Israelis bombed Qatar 2 weeks ago. You can't trust these guys. Did America approve that? Yes, they did. They told them as they were doing it. And this is what I'm trying to say. America told Netanyahu, turn them jets around when they were headed to Iran and land them. And what did Netanyahu do? He did exactly what Trump told him to do. He told Netanyahu, apologize for bombing in Doha. And Netanyahu apologized for bombing in Doha. He shouldn't even have done it. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. They should be listening to everything. We have the biggest military base there, right? They went ahead and they did a sneak attack trying to kill the Hamas leadership. They failed, made us look stupid, created a whole bunch of problems in the Gulf. Now Qatar, and they're the middleman. They're the ones that are supposed to negotiate this stuff. Qatar is not a friend. Qatar is not a middleman. They're not a true middleman. We have the biggest military base there. They're a huge ally of ours. Huge. I doubt that they're a huge benefactor ally of ours. We just have a military base there. The biggest military base in the region. They literally have Hamas terrorists staying in Qatar. Here's the thing. That's why they got bombed in Doha, because they got terrorists there. Okay. What are these terrorists doing in Qatar? Well, by that logic, the IDF needs to get bombed too, because IDF is a terrorist organization as well. No, they're not. They're 100%. They illegally occupy land. They illegally occupy land. They kill people every single day. They kill kids every single day. They fit the definition of terrorism. So that means America is we should be supporting them. We should not be supporting them. Military is terrorists too. No, we should not be supporting them. No. America military, according to your definition, are also terrorists as well. We've done some bullshit. We should never went to the Middle East. We should never went. We killed 400,000 people in Afghanistan.
I put this in my ears, and I haven't asked anyone to repeat themselves in over 3 months. No, we're not. This is magic. I wish I tried this before.
Well, here's the thing. We haven't been involved.
Overthrow governments.
There's a reason why.
CIA kills people.
Of course.
Our military kills. Of course. 3.8 million people in Japan. We killed 400,000 people in Iraq. We occupied Iraq, Afghanistan, and that region pretty much for 20 years. Yeah, but why? We have done far worse than what the IDF has done. No, but why? Because we have war-hungry people that live in our country. Who are the war-hungry people that live in our country? Our presidents, vice president, our military personnel. They're donors who are what? You can add the Zionist component to it if you want to.
That's a huge component. The entire war on terror was basically destabilizing the Middle East for the benefit of Israel.
No, America. Man, Israel is the size of a pinky finger, dude. It's not.
That's fine. It's a small country.
It's American interest.
No,
we have American interest in the region.
See, that's the thing. That's the Hezbollah right there. We get no benefit. We get no benefit from the bullshit that we're doing in the Middle East. The thing is this: we go to war in these Middle Eastern countries for Israel. Why? Because Israel has an enormous amount of lobbying power in the United States, and they control every infrastructure point, whether it's media, the government, big tech, etc. They have an enormous amount of power in the United States and influence, and they use that influence and power to wage a foreign policy that benefits Israel. This is the problem.
No, you're saying that America did all of that, foregoing the benefit of America, foregoing the safety of America and stability of our reputation just for Israel.
Yes.
That's insane.
That is the truth.
Let me put it. Let me just say
it like this: Jews have too much fucking power in the United States, and it's a problem.
Jews? Which Jews?
The neocons, the tech moguls, the people that run these finance companies, etc. How is it that we have a lobbying group, right? AIPAC. They don't have to register in the FARA
because they're American citizens.
But they're lobbying on behalf of a foreign government.
And we have other lobbies on behalf of foreign governments.
How is it?
We have other lobbies on behalf of foreign governments.
And they have to register.
They're not registered as FARA.
No. They have to register.
We do. You want to fact check right on the spot?
They have to register.
No, they don't.
They have to register.
No, we don't. Listen.
The Chinese, Qatar, all these guys, they're registered.
Myron, if you're Americans lobbying on behalf of interest and relations between American and foreign country, you don't have to register as FARA. There are more than just the Jewish-Israeli lobby in America of American citizens doing it. They don't register as FARA.
So you don't think
if you're operating for a country, you have to register as FARA.
Okay.
We see that Israel registers FARA when they influence things in America.
So Brandon, you don't think the Israelis control our foreign policy?
No, they don't control our foreign policy. They lobby on behalf of foreign policy. They do have some control, but they don't control it completely.
You don't think they have a ridiculous amount of say? We've given them billions upon billions of dollars the past year.
Let's put it in perspective, Myron. Who gives more money, FARA or not? Qatar or Israel?
Israel gives more money.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do, and I'll tell you why. Because private donors don't have to. Myron Mandelson gave Trump $100 million just last year. That's just one donor.
Elon Musk gave him $200 million.
Sure. But what I'm trying to say is
doubled what she gave.
Sure. But what I'm trying to say is that we have a bunch of donors that give money, right? Wink, wink, hudge, hudge, to congressmen, to senators, etc. Help them, etc. None of that gets. A lot of times that stuff doesn't get reported.
No. Hold on. Let's go back to
use the AIPAC tracker to find it.
Let's go back to fact base. When you go to FARA, Israel is registered FARA. Qatar, China, Japan, Saudi Arabia, all of them, China, Japan, Saudi Arabia, did I say Qatar? They all give more money than AIPAC and FARA registered Israeli donations.
With
or
Gemini
Israeli lobby.
and Google
they give
Meet,
far more money.
AI captures and organizes
twice as much,
meeting
20
notes.
times as much money is Israel.
You
All right, do we have congressmen showing up in
conversation.
Chinese uniforms? Do we have anti-Saudi Arabian laws in place to deport college students? Do we have mass censorship for anyone that's critical of Qatar? No, dude, these guys run our country, and to not admit that is absolutely nuts.
No, Myron, do we not have laws against what they call it, Islamophobia? Did we not just run through a gamut after September 11th of Islamophobia? You can't say nothing about the Quran in America. Burn the Quran and see what happened to you in America.
Looks like
Muslims get shit on all day.
there.
Muslims get shit on all day.
And so do the Jews.
No, well, hold on. Here's the difference, though. It took October 7th.
Tell me, Jews ain't getting ate up right now.
No, they are. But you want to know why? Because they're committing a genocide right now, and this is the first time that people are seeing where their tax dollars are going.
What about the Christians? What about the Christians that are murdered?
Yep.
What about the Christians that are murdered and the Jews that are murdered in Syria? What about the terrorist activity?
What about Shut the fuck up.
Billions of dollars a year to kill Jews and Christians, but we give the Israelis billions of dollars a year, and they're doing a whole bunch of bullshit with our tax dollars. How is it
you say that
Israelis
both are doing it? If you want to say Israel is doing it, can't you say that the Islamic organizations are doing the same thing?
What about
shut up? Hezbollah was created because Israel invaded Lebanon in 1982. Yes. Like, here's the thing.
This is what you're saying. It's a difference between being intentionally or something intentionally happened and something happened as a result of something. It's a big difference.
What I'm saying is this.
You're acting as Israel created Hezbollah intentionally.
Okay. Israel has created all the conflicts in the Middle East, okay? They've created a lot of problems that we've had to come in and save them diplomatically at the UN and or get involved in wars because of them, or we suffer terrorist attacks because of them. If you look at Bin Laden's letter, Bin Laden wrote a letter to that's actually a big reason why they want to ban TikTok, by the way. There was a letter that went viral back in November of 2023, a letter to America. In that letter, Bin Laden wrote out line by line his issues and grievances with the United States. Now, obviously, this letter was banned everywhere back in 2002, but it resurfaced in 2023. And this letter, a big part of it, his issue was our support of Israel. Our support of Israel is what infuriates the Muslim world because we're killing Muslims all the time. We're funding the Israelis to kill Muslims all the time. That's what creates problems.
No, look at this. Let's put this in perspective, Myron.
And we don't have anti-Islam laws, but we definitely have anti-Semitism laws. Big difference.
No, because we do. Well, first of all, we have
Tehran, but
we have laws against discrimination and hate based on your religious affiliation. You can't go somewhere and burn a Quran, and you're going to get in trouble.
You could protest. You could be a college. Okay, here's the difference. I could go ahead and be a college student, right? Let's say I have an F1 visa, and I burn a Quran and say, yo, Islam is terrible. These guys are awful. Nothing's going to happen to me. But if I'm a college student and I burn a Talmud, or I say, yo, Israel's an apartheid ethno state, or they're committing a genocide, I might get deported. Thanks to Marco Rubio.
Show me somebody burning the Quran. Show me somebody burning the Quran.
They're not going to get deported. Is my point.
No, you ain't never seen nobody burn a Quran. Have you? No, you haven't.
People burn Qurans all the time.
No, you ain't never seen nobody on college campus.
People do it on X. People do it on the internet.
No. You on college? We're talking about college campus. You show me on college campus where somebody's burning the Quran, mocking Muhammad, and saying death to, or saying that, you know, from a statement that's similar to from the river to the sea when it comes to Israel, when it comes to Muslims. You'll never hear it, you'll never see it. And then if you saw it and they didn't do nothing, then I'll agree with you. But let's talk about this for a minute.
I'm not going to get deported for burning a Quran if I was a F1 student visa. But if I'm doing something and I'm being critical of Israel, I will get deported.
How can you make the comparison when you ain't never seen somebody burn a Quran on
Mahmoud Khalil is getting deported right now for being critical of Israel.
No, not critical. Organizing a group that's counter to American interests, and also they're saying
Mahmoud Khalil was also like part of a group in Syria.
There's a lot of people that are critical of Israel, obviously.
How about the girl up in Tufts? Let's go ahead.
Which he did not disclose.
How about the girl at Tufts that got deported or getting deported because she wrote an op-ed talking about boycotting Israel? They're deporting her.
You talking about the girl that came on to that anti-American?
No, she's from Tufts. She was up in Somerville, Boston, Massachusetts area. She got arrested by ICE. There's plenty of them like that. The point I'm trying to make is that Israel has a ridiculous amount of influence in our government to the point where if college students criticize them, which is their First Amendment right, by the way.
It's when you're saying from the river to the sea, when you're saying that
this girl didn't say from the river to the sea.
People on campus.
This girl got deported for literally writing an op-ed talking about boycotting Israel. That's
I gotta look into that. I cannot validate that. So what I'm saying is that on college campus,
I can give you the link, and I'll give you the Netanyahu at the West Bank when he's sabotaged Oswald course on purpose.
If you give it to me and it's authenticated, I'll make a video about it. So let's put this in perspective. These people are on campus saying pretty much to kill Jews.
They never said that.
From the river, what does from the river to the sea mean?
Saying Palestine will be free from the river to the sea.
What does that mean?
That does not mean killing all the Jews.
No. What does that mean? How are they gonna be free from the river to the sea, where it's occupied by Jews right now?
No, they say Palestine will be free, which means Palestinians will have sovereignty. Now, some people want to interpret that as that's genocidal. But here's the thing: they're not even saying from the river to the sea. A lot of these students, they write op-eds and they're getting deported.
No. You're giving one example. Like for instance, you're giving one example of a person writing an op-ed and you're claiming that they got deported. I need to look into it and figure out is there stuff behind it. Because you just said the one guy's getting deported because he disagreed with Israel. He coordinated. Hold on.
He was representing the students. There were Jews that were protesting with him. There were Jews that were protesting with him.
You're being disingenuous because
he went to Shabbat with these guys. He didn't hate Jews. Mahmoud Khalil.
You're being disingenuous because he also had issues with immigration informant. So he did not inform the government that he was a part of a foreign organization, and you have to disclose that.
With immigration informant. Oh, shut up.
That's one of the reasons why he got deported. The other one was
can't even use proper
on the university saying death to America.
He wasn't saying that.
Costing. Not him. I'm saying the organization was doing it. They were accosting Jewish students, and also they were
Jewish students with him.
They want to overthrow Western civilization.
There were Jewish students with him marching at Columbia.
It don't matter just because they're Jewish. Don't mean that they're not saying things that could be anti-Semitic, or that they're pushing from a river to the sea, or the fact that he did not disclose his foreign involvement with another government, and he has a student visa.
Look, my argument here, because remember, this all started because I said that Jews have an undue level of influence in American politics. What I'm trying to explain here is that they are getting students deported for exercising the First Amendment because they don't like what they're saying. That's a problem.
You don't have the First Amendment to the degree in which you can threaten people. You can say that you're going to overthrow the American government, or you're going to somehow not disclose. They say we want to overthrow Western civilization.
They never said that, dude. Come on,
man.
They
did say that.
That's not what they said.
I'll pull it up and send it to you, and you have to put it on your show.
That's not what it is, man. And here's the thing.
That's
also,
what he said.
Remember, political speech is supposed to be the most protected form of speech in the United States according to the First Amendment. According to the First Amendment, right? Now,
violence is not protected.
They were never pushing violence.
They got video of these students on campus. Jewish students trying to go through. They literally are fighting Jewish students and not allowing them to go through campus.
Here's the thing.
They took over the Jewish hall and they wouldn't let Jews into the section. I mean, dude.
Here's the thing. You got to remember, there's different groups of protesters. There's a group here. There's another group here, etc. He was representing a certain group of kids that were protesting. The point I'm trying to make here, right? Besides going into the details with Khalil's case or the girl up in Somerville or whatever, the point I'm trying to make is that we are passing legislation that basically protects another country or criticism of another country. That is crazy to me. That is crazy to me. Bill Ackman got Claudine Gay kicked out as the president of Harvard because he didn't feel like she went hard enough on protesters in Harvard. Like, dude, Jews run America and it's a problem. If you don't agree with me on this,
Myron,
that's fine. But
they don't run America. The biggest threat to America is these blue-head devils, these white liberals that are in America. That's the biggest threat to America.
The biggest threat to America is Jewish supremacy and Jewish control of our country. That is the biggest threat to America. And if you don't see that, I don't know what to say. The Jewish supremacy and Jewish control of our country is the biggest threat to this country. By far.
That's the craziest thing ever. Islam is a bigger threat than anything that Jewish people can ever do.
Okay, who runs Congress? Do Muslims run Congress? Who runs big tech? Do Muslims run Congress? Do Muslims
Jews run Congress?
No, they don't. Jews run Congress. Yes, absolutely.
No, they don't.
90% of them are funded by.
Okay, let me give you an example, Myron, of what you're saying funded. Is Byron Donalds, since he's supported by AIPAC, is Byron Donalds controlled by AIPAC?
Yes.
Okay, let me just tell you how silly what you're saying is.
He's in Florida.
How much money did they give Byron Donalds? AIPAC.
I can look it up if you want me to.
I already looked it up. You want to know how much money? $40,000. I think they gave him $43,000.
It's quite a bit of money.
You know how much money he raised? $13 million. So what kind of impact do they have on Byron Donalds giving $40,000? That's a private jet from Texas back to Florida. That's not no real money. He got $13 million. They weren't even his biggest donor.
Okay.
By far.
I guarantee you, if we looked at his donors, because especially from he's here from Florida,
I looked at all his donors.
Some of those donors are probably going to be pro-Israel Zionist Jews.
No, his number one donor is also the number one donor of Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's a real estate agency or something that was his number one donor, and so is Marjorie Taylor Greene. They have the same donors. So AIPAC does not control them.
Okay, so you don't think Israeli influence is heavy in Congress?
No, Israeli influence or pro-Israeli policy is heavy in Congress.
That's a problem. That's a problem.
American citizens. See, this is the problem that people are saying. The reason that Israel is even connected to America because we have a lot of people in America that are Jewish. We have a lot of people that have dual affiliation. We have a spiritual affiliation and we have a governmental affiliation between the two countries. So this is why you have a lot of people in America who care about the best interests of Israel and the Israel-American policy. If you were saying this is all coming from Israel, I would have a problem with it. The American people who are supporting and paying money into AIPAC are the ones who are making this decision. If you don't like what Americans think, then that's a different story. You
got a bunch of brainwashed evangelical Christians that read the Schofield Bible, and then you got
that's not true.
That are hardcore Zionists, and then you also got
very clear that Christians.
And then you got dual allegiance. Then you got dual allegiance Zionist Jews that give a bunch of money and donate. Look, if you don't think that Israeli influence in our government is a problem, I guess that's your opinion, but I think it's a big problem because Qatar doesn't have nearly as much influence in America.
Do you think, no, hold on. Do you think Qatari influence in our education system is a problem?
Oh, because they fund colleges?
Billions of dollars of them funding Ivy League colleges. And we all know the crux of what's wrong with America starts on a college campus. They give billions of dollars to universities and Ivy League schools. Is that a problem?
Okay, who runs Ivy League schools? They're run by Jews. Like the majority of Ivy League schools are run by. I think like 8 out of the 9 of the Ivy League schools are run by Jews, man.
Myron, I'm gonna give you a shirt that says all roads lead to Jewish land.
It's the truth,
bro. So why would a Jewish university?
See, and here's the thing, Brendan. They don't want you to know this. They don't want you to know this. When you connect all the dots, unfortunately, they have a ridiculous amount of influence and power in the United States, and this is a problem.
So you're saying that Jews? This is a huge problem. You're saying the Jews run a university that takes billions from Qatar to preach and I guess lament to anti-Israeli propaganda.
Here's the thing, dude.
Is that what you're saying?
Here's a perfect example. Harvard, back in 2023, right? In 2024, kids were protesting all over the place, pro-Palestine protests. Bill Ackman gets the head of Harvard fired, Claudine Gay, because he didn't like that she wasn't supporting Israel enough just because she didn't. She allowed students to protest.
How did he get her fired?
He complains to Harvard. He's a huge donor, enormous amount of influence. This is what I'm talking about when I say.
Is he the biggest? Who gives the most money to Harvard? Him or Qatar?
I don't know.
I'll tell you right now, it's Qatar.
Okay.
Billions of dollars.
Okay, but how is Bill Ackman able?
China. Okay. Billions of dollars.
That's fine. Harvard has a huge list of donors or whatever. So that makes my point even stronger then. Bill Ackman doesn't even give as much money, but he was able to get the president fired.
Who fired the president?
Or the probably the board. These schools all have a board.
Okay. So but what you're saying, Myron, here's the problem with what you're saying.
The head of Harvard.
Here's the problem with what you're saying.
Okay.
You are attaching ill intent and malice to everything that a Jewish person does. Why can't she just be inept and lost her job because people that are in the administration and people who support the university wanted her out? Why does it have to be one guy that happened to be Jewish that has all the pull? It takes more than just him.
Because he said it himself. He said it himself. He was pissed off that Harvard wasn't doing. She was the president of Harvard.
Was he the only one?
Him and
was he the only one mad at what she did?
Him and the Jewish organizations, right, like alumni, basically threatened to withhold donation money and threatened to stop supporting Harvard if she stayed as president, and they got her fired.
Do they have a right to do that? Do they have a right to do that?
Okay, you're taking away from my point.
They did it only because they're Jews.
Yes, pretty much, yeah. That's why, because they didn't like the fact that she allowed these protests to happen in Harvard.
She allowed anti-Semitism to run rampant on the campus.
The students, a lot of them Jewish, by the way.
Support them.
A lot of students who are Jewish, by the way, were protesting against the genocide back then, and then they didn't feel like she was doing enough to curb the anti-Semitism because they got rid of her. If that doesn't show influence, the point of this discussion here is for me to say that they have undue influence.
She didn't get in trouble until there was people getting bludgeoned on campus who were Jews in front of the world. Bro. It became a viral, it became a national story. Donald Trump spoke about it. We had congressional hearings on it. Jewish students on campus were getting accosted. This is when it started to unravel.
It was protesting, right?
It's not protest, it's rioting. They literally had police come and shut these riots down. Myron,
again,
police on campus arresting people.
The point I'm trying to make here is no other country has this level of influence where we can get presidents kicked out of Ivy League schools. We can go ahead and pay congressmen off. We can go ahead and put laws in place for a foreign country. They don't have to register under AIPAC.
That's not on behalf of Israel. That's on behalf of Jews.
No, the protests were strictly because of what was going on with Israel and Palestine. That's why they protested.
Pushing anti-Semitism against students on campus.
No, they weren't.
Who have nothing to do with Israel.
It was protests against what's going on in Gaza.
But they were targeting Jewish students on campus.
Let's ask this. Prior to 2023, did anyone say anything or criticize Jews or Zionism or any of that stuff? Prior to 2023, October 7th?
I mean, I would say yes, but I don't know.
Okay, so it wasn't. That's fine. Because I've been talking about this topic before it became hot for people to talk about. Prior to October 7th, no one even knew what Zionism was. No one cared. No one talked about it because you would get banned if you talked about Israel, Jewish power, any of this stuff. You'd get banned. Then after October 7th happened and people saw in 4K kids getting blown up and killed every single day by the Israeli government.
It's the kids.
Sorry, I'm currently looking at some stuff because here's what Myron said earlier. It kind of bugged me a little bit.
A lot of women in college are working, bro. Yeah, so I'm not sure when Iran, Masha, Amini, they're making fun of each other. DHL says, I guess this dude won't leave you alone. You still haven't addressed the mandated forced hijabs that resulted in Masha Amini getting killed. This is why Iranians hate their government, are becoming more liberal and banning Islam.
I get his point. Yeah, this is just feminist propaganda.
It's not.
This is like literal claims that basically Iran oppresses women, and that's why you need to overthrow the Iran's government.
They do.
It's completely ridiculous, right?
No,
There's a lot of women that work in Iran.
Iran has more women who are in universities than most institutes.
Okay, so explain this to me. How is it that TikTok 2022, that murders and that like revolution going on was all over TikTok, right? But only that recently did the Zionists and the pro-feminist movement decided to obtain TikTok to spread Zionism, aka anti-Iran propaganda. Right? Pro-Jewish / not good for Iran propaganda. Only recently, right? Okay, so technically they were pro-Iran before that. So which one is it? Like, they've been all the stuff that is like, oh, Israel is hurting us. Everything that would have been like pro-Palestine / pro-Muslim was all on there until recently, right? Very recently. So obviously, which one is it? Like, Iran literally banned TikTok back then. Which one is it? Like, you can't have it both ways like that. No, it's not female propaganda. Like, the only recently, within the past few months, did the morality police stop beating the living crap out of women for not wearing a hijab properly.
Yeah, I believe they have. It's one of the most in the world, actually.
There's not a lot of women in college and working, bro.
Yeah, so I'm not sure where you're getting that
If
from.
I was the Supreme Leader, I wouldn't allow it.
This whole claim about what they're saying is just this feminist revolution that happened. That is basically been pushed by the United States, by the West, in order to overthrow and cause a color revolution in Iran.
I thought that's why we were buying TikTok. That's why Israel wanted to buy TikTok. So that they could spread that propaganda. How is it that they were spreading that shit in 2022? It doesn't add up, mister. No, Iranians are fucking disgusting people. Okay? Iran, they chant death to America? I'm sorry, there's not 1,000 ways to interpret that shit. It's a pretty straightforward statement. When we say death to America, we mean death to the government. No. Death to USA. It's 3 words. Death to America. 3 words. I didn't speak English at 6 years old. I could have that's pretty straightforward. You don't need a lot of English skills to understand that. There's not 1,000 ways to interpret that. Death to America, I'm sorry. You want us gone off the map. That's all it means. Okay?
Yes, but the majority of people that have died have been kids.
If I chant death to Iran, you'd say, well, no, you're a threat. I'm not going to let you in. I'd say that's kind of valid.
How is that possible?
Bro, 83% of the people that have died in Gaza.
No, the fucking Ayatollah and all of these motherfuckers that allow people to marry some freaking 13-year-old girls, and literally they throw you off a freaking building if you're gay, but they have the most clinics to perform transgender surgery so that they can date them if they're gay, because they can change their gender. That's what they do in Iran, by the way. In Iran, because you can't be gay, they trans them. So that the 13-year-old boy can be a 13-year-old girl. But they keep the body parts, you know?
Our children.
Did you not?
Civilians. According to the IDF's own stats. And
no, Iran's retarded.
Numbers.
No, 80%
83%. No, 83% are civilians.
Oh, yeah, you said civilians, but you said kids at first.
And if it's that great, why aren't all the fucking Persians going back then? Huh?
50% of Gaza is children. Okay, so over 50% under the age of 18, and they were getting blown up and killed. But let me go back to my point, because
wait. Your math is not mathing. Your math is not mathing. You're saying just because 50% of the population is kids, you're assuming that 50% of all the people that got killed are children.
No, I said 50% of the population, over 50%, around 50% of the population in Gaza are children. Then I said,
wait. Define children
under the age of 18. Under the age of 18,
17 and under.
Okay. So we're talking about half the population, right? Now, of the people, that was just the kids. That's not including the adults that are innocent and everything else like that. Of the people that were killed so far in Gaza, 83%. This comes from internal Israeli documents, by the way. 83% have been civilians. And a lot of them are kids. And then on top of that, we have doctors that have testified that said almost all the people that came in to see, that I saw were children that died.
Doctors in Gaza
They're
are telling you the truth.
American, British, Australian doctors from all over the place.
How would most of them be kids? You saying that kids are just in the buildings by themselves? Kids are just walking the streets by themselves and getting blown up? Myron, the kids are with the adults. So if kids, how would you say majority of these kids dying? If you blow up a building with people in it, is it just kids in the building or adults and children?
What I'm telling you is,
you act like they're just targeting kids, Myron. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm
Islam
they don't give a
is
shit
the
who they're
problem.
targeting.
How they gonna target adults without the kids? How they gonna target Hamas without hitting civilians? And how you gonna hit civilians
Like,
without hitting
Islam
some kids?
needs to go.
And that's precisely my point.
What
They
are
don't
they
care.
supposed to, Myron, what are they supposed to do though?
Okay,
They
I'll tell you what they can do.
Hamas?
No, here's the thing. Explain to me this then, Brandon.
Like, stop trying to make Sharia law happen. It's not going to happen,
where they
Gretchen,
accurately
okay?
and systematically killed a bunch of Hezbollah fighters
trying
using
to make
a very
fresh happen.
smart technique, by the way. I gave them credit for this. They had the bombs
Where
and beepers
do
and
they
walkie-talkies for 10
send all
years.
the
Then, in
wieners
another
and
operation,
boobies
they ever
they
go ahead
cut
and get
off
Mossad
there?
agents behind enemy lines and destroy Iran's air defenses before they did Operation Rising Lion, where the Air Force came in and was able to destroy them and get air control.
they
How are
probably
they able to do all
fund
these
them.
complex and sophisticated operations, right? With
All
superior
right,
military,
since
by the
we
way,
have
Hezbollah
no
superior to
donos
Hamas,
and it's
so is
been
IRGC
an hour and
superior.
35
How are they not able
minutes.
to replicate that to some degree against Hamas? I'll tell you why. They didn't replicate it because
We're
they
gonna
want
end the
land. They could've
stream.
went ahead-
No, Myron.
Unless there's a dono that pops, I'm ending. No donos. No super chat. I'm out of here.